Reawakening. If election season has you saying, Calgon, take me away, do we have a dream for you? Welcome to Reawakening, the Dream Interpretation Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Mann. In this episode, our trusty dream interpreter, Yvonne Ryba, goes back to 1984 to share an otherworldly dream she had that was far removed even from the Reagan-Mondale presidential race. Imagine this, the Vatican City, diamonds, a cat, burglar, and a cobblestone courtyard. Who needs Clinton-Trump intrigue when we have dreams like this? What does it all mean? Let's touch base with Yvonne again and find out. Hi again, Yvonne. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you, Chris.
Wonderful. Well, I'm sitting here with all this election craziness and sometimes just wanting to escape, and your dreams always provide an escape for me.
Oh, good.
Intriguing stories. So do you got anything for us that has some intrigue and maybe takes us to another world?
Oh, yes. Well, dreams are like that, aren't they? We go out of this world into another world.
Yeah.
And that world is totally whatever we want it to be. Well, sometimes it's what we don't want it to be.
Right. What our subconscious wants, maybe.
But, it's like anything can happen. And I've got a dream here, got all sorts of weird turns and twists in it.
Well, do tell.
So,
do tell.
Let's see if this is going to be the one that takes you out of yourself.
All right.
Okay. This is a dream that I had, and I have the date, September the 4th, 1984. So,
another election year in the United States.
Yeah, right. So 32 years ago,
Yeah.
just a bit over that.
Yeah.
At that time, we had been here not quite 2 years, and we were living in Houston, Texas, of course.
From Britain.
And here's the dream. The setting is a large house or a hotel with many rooms, and these rooms are occupied by other players, I've written. Now, players would be actors, I would imagine. I have been reading at the time a book called Pontiff, which is about the Pope and the Vatican City and so on. And I think the Vatican City is a good comparison. It's a kind of college or even indoor city here, not just a house. One of the characters, a man whom I didn't recognize, has a bag of diamonds, which he spills on the floor. For some reason, he's unable to collect them all at once, and he has to go somewhere with the idea that he's going to come back and pick them up. Well, the room that he's in is a bedroom. The bed is high and old-fashioned. It's like an antique. And I go out with him to help him on his mission, whatever that is. Now, a girl in a strange costume, like a cat or a court jester with bells on her head dress, is seen entering the corridor, and then she goes into the room. And on our return, I don't know where we've been, but you know what a dream's like. You suddenly return. No trace of the diamonds can be found, believe it or not. Now, each of these diamonds was cut so that it formed a prism, like with a sharp end, very much like a pendulum would be, with many facets to it. So, well, we do keep finding a scattering of diamonds on the floor, and then another young man appears, and he seems to be something of a companion to this catty, I've written in quotes, girl. I feel the odd diamond here and there, it's only a ploy to keep this man and me happy while these other two plan their escape with the bulk of them. So we're in a room which has wet floors. Suddenly, there's soaking carpet, and then there are glasses on shelves. I impel the man out, and we catch the girl in the corridor with a bag of diamonds. And then we're suddenly in a cobblestone courtyard, or very much like, the Vatican City again, with the odd puddle of rain here and there. So we've still got this water thing around. We have a hold of this girl. We tie her up. And I notice that there are fire ants running around, and they get on my shoes and feet, and presumably over her. But she doesn't make any noise. She only claims that she has the right to these diamonds also. Now, these ants don't seem to bite. They just run around. Nobody gets bitten at all by them. The dream ends where the man and I let the girl go. And then here around the corner comes a double-decker bus. Okay, the kind you see in London. And it goes around the corner of this odd-looking town that we're in. And the man talks very tolerantly to the girl as he cuts her loose. And he says, now, no ill feelings. And that seems to be, as I wake up, to be the prevailing atmosphere. that it's okay. Whatever's going on, we're going to forget about it. We're going to forgive. We're going to get over it. And that was the end of the dream.
Wow. Got a little heist there, some drama.
Yeah, there's all sorts in it. Yeah.
But all is well at the end.
Yeah, we get all over the place here. We're like in the Vatican City, we're stopping people stealing the diamonds, and we're in a cobblestone courtyard, and then we're on a double-decker, or we're looking at one anyway.
I see a Tom Hanks, Ron Howard directed movie there.
Well, a long time before the movie, that's for sure.
Right.
But see how influences from what you're doing at the moment can pop up in your dream.
Sure.
But I've always been interested in Rome. I'd been to Rome. At this point, I'd been to Rome. In fact, I've been to Italy a couple of times, and I always had been very interested in ancient Rome and the history of it, and believing in reincarnation, know that I had a connection with Rome. So there's no wonder that Rome shows up in my dreams.
That's right.
The catty girl, the girl with a catty costume on, obviously is, when I think about it, is like you know, think of now, we'd think about Catwoman and Batman and all that stuff. But this was way before that sort of thing came along. Everything in the dream is about yourself. And you've got to look at it and sort of figure out what parts of yourself is this reflecting. So here's what I wrote at the time about the meaning. In any dream, the ego is represented by a house. Usually the house refers to yourself. And here is a very complex one with many rooms, many facets. There are many rooms. The diamonds even have facets.
Right.
And I am all of the players. Now, that doesn't mean that some of the parts of this dream don't refer to other people, but I've got to sort of siphon off which bits are me. Most of them are me. I can pretty well say that. The catty girl, the court jester, they were facets of my personality. Cats especially, always been connected with cats. I always had cats, and people give me cat ornaments, you know, that kind of thing.
Yes.
And the jester side is my youthful facet at school. I like to make people laugh. It was a way to be popular, to be in with people, and so on.
Yeah, I got you.
You know, so those two parts of my personality were in the dream. However, separate from them in the dream, and I've got a man who is helpful. So the diamonds, what did they represent? Well, diamonds are very precious, obviously. I reckoned personally, I felt that these were my buried treasure. They were my talents which were not being exploited. But I'm slowly gathering them up, all right? I'm slowly picking them up and trying to get them together.
You've had them scattered, right?
Yes. They were scattered, and there they were. And I had to keep finding them and getting them together. And the catty girl had taken them off and said she had a right to them. Well, if she's part of me, she's right. She does have a right to them. But that's part of me that I'm trying to move away from. I'm trying to raise myself above the more immature part of me at this point. I'm trying to become someone who is looking into life in a deeper way. Let's put it that way. What is the potential here? What is my potential? What am I supposed to be doing? Now, then we came to, I was in a room with all these wet floors, and the carpet was soaking and so on. Well, at that point, we were living in a house that did have some problems with leaks. So that moved into the dream as well. But water represents life, energy, spirit in a dream. And if you look at this, you'll see that, what would that be? That would be a draining of energy, or of losing life, losing some potential again, letting things get away from me. So we wanted to be out of there, not a very pleasant place to be.
Right.
And then suddenly, there we are, in this medieval city of cobblestones and antiques and so on, a dream escape place for me, a place that I really love. Anybody who's been to Rome will know that every city has its own atmosphere. And Rome is especially, very charismatic, well, with its food.
Romance.
Yes, romance. It's beautiful. Everything about it, it's got a lot going for it. So here we are in Rome, in this ancient place. And it sort of takes you back to what, for me, is valuable.
Yeah, well, and sort of mystical,
Yes.
That's what comes across to me, spiritual in that regard. And you're a very spiritual person, so this dream was perhaps trying to move you in a direction that tapped into that side of yourself, the deeper side.
Absolutely. And the fact that it is the Vatican City in Rome, right, which I had been to, and not being a Roman Catholic, but, this is a major religion for centuries, the only religion in the world, in the Western world anyway, that anybody had. Everybody had to be it, as a matter of fact. If you didn't belong to it, you were cast out almost.
Yes.
So for me, that would be the mystical, like you said, a deeply religious place, a very spiritual place, and Rome is certainly spiritual, has many, many facets to it itself. And you can't be in any city which has really ancient history like this without it affecting you, if you're a history buff like I am.
Sure.
So I've written that I felt that I must pull all these sides of me together, these different parts of me. I feel the answer is really almost upon me, and I'll soon have the opportunity to see it thrust upon me. It'll come to me, which it did, as a matter of fact. Now, the bus shows me that I'm making progress, but it didn't show me where the destination is. I've got to wait for that. However, remember, the bus is a double-story, double-decker bus.
Right.
And I think that implies that when you go, everybody always wants to sit on the top.
Right.
You know, but it always goes straight up the stairs to the top and get a better view, and it's more fun.
Otherwise, be on a single-decker bus, right?
That's right. Yeah. But here, you know, it means you're raising yourself up. You've got to another level. You're getting above it a bit.
Yes.
So there was some kind of like, you know, oh, well, we're making some progress here, but we don't quite know where we are. We're not quite there yet. And then I wrote, perhaps when I dream I arrive at this place, this destination, I will know that my opportunity has come. Now, later, my opportunity did come. It took another year or two, but gradually things opened up for me. And I did start to become more spiritual, and I became more involved in my own, you know, sense of a spiritual living and so on. And I did intuitive readings, and I did all sorts of different things, and met a lot of very interesting people from many different countries and cultures and education and you name it, you know, the whole thing. And that's part of the fascination of life, is to be able to taste, as it were, the flavors of all these different cultures. And I've always loved that. Whenever I go anywhere different, I like to try their food and how they live and everything. It's just wonderful.
Everything,
It's nice to come home, but it's great to try things out.
Sure.
So
wow.
That's the dream.
Wow. That's a lot, Yvonne.
It is. Oh, I forgot to tell you about the ants. Okay, I missed the ants out.
There were ants, too?
Now.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, remember the girl was tied up. Okay, so I'm trying to keep this girl under control, tying her up and putting her down there, and ants are running around. Now, you remember you got ants in your pants? Can you remember when you get sort of... You're trying to do everything at once, and you're jumping around like a crazy person, and getting annoyed, you know. I think part of me saw the ants were only on my shoe, but I was worried about them running over her, although she didn't complain. It didn't seem to be a problem. So I think that she was laid on the cobblestones or whatever. It was like, okay, that part of me, that younger catty person, I'm just tying that one up and getting rid of her. And yeah, the ants, they're not bothering her really, but she is on a lower level, let's put it that way. I need to stop feeling I'm being overwhelmed or got at, letting little things aggravate me and irritate me and make me catty, and so on. And I think that's what that was about. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Such vivid recall. I mean, you just must have woken up with pen in hand, practically.
I had the book beside me. You've got to do that.
Yeah.
And I have these. This is one book. This is probably the first book that I started in, and I think there might be one where there's some before this, but we're only 1980s here. I think, let's see, the first dream I have in here is November 1979.
Oh, wow. It's a blast from the past, always, when talking to you.
It sure is. I mean, when I read back some of these myself, I think, whoa, I can see what that was about, even more than at the time. Because as, you know, time passes, then you look back on it with more perspective.
That's right.
So, very interesting.
It is very interesting. Well, that was definitely full of intrigue. When you have these dreams that just seem like these sort of crazy stories or strange dramas, the point is to really understand that these people in the dream, the places in the dream, are about the dreamer.
Yes.
And so you've really sketched this out for us. Well, you took me to another world again, Yvonne.
Thank you.
Well, I enjoyed that one a lot, and I'm looking forward to hearing what you have next. So we'll be in touch again later this fall, and I look forward to it, Yvonne.
Oh, so do I, Chris. Thank you very much.
You take care.
And you too, dear. Bye-bye.
Reawakening with Chris Mann and Yvonne Ryba is a Rising Action Media production. Copyright 2016 by Chris Mann.